Running an online tutorial is not easy. If you've ever been on the receiving end of silence, everyone with their cameras off, or tumbleweed when you ask a question, you will know how stressful it can be running an online tutorial. I've worked hard to refine the way I run online tutorials to really optimize student engagement, and here are 5 rules that I follow for every online tutorial to do just that. Rule 1, no slides. I've implemented a no slides rule because I think slides in tutorials really just detract from your goal of connecting and engaging with a small group of students. Slides are only for the purpose of you reading off them. They also take up the whole screen by the time you screen share, so it means that all of your students are in little small boxes rather than actually looking at your face. What that means is that when you're running a tutorial, you easily forget about the people who are there and all you're doing is staring at your slide and reading off it. This is a really bad way to get engagement. If you've been a learner in a small group tutorial watching someone talk on slides, you're not going to engage. You're not going to step forward and ask questions because you just basically check out. You can use like one slide if you want to show a particular image, x-ray, whatever, but you need to make sure that you remember to then stop screen sharing. And if there isn't someone to remind you to stop screen sharing, what I've seen mostly is that when that one slide is up, it just gets left up for the rest of the tutorial and you experience all the problems I've mentioned where everyone's a tiny box and you forget that they're actually there. Your tutorial is going to be much more engaging if you don't use any slides at all. Rule 2, have one person allocated to manage the tech. There's a lot going on in online tutorials. You may have problems with students connecting, people asking for links, people's mics not working, people's mics being on when other people are talking so you can't hear, or going into breakout rooms. All of these things take up a lot of mental bandwidth. It means that you can't focus on doing that and delivering the educational content. What you want ideally is one person allocated to the tech IT side and someone else delivering the content, because it will allow them to focus on achieving the goal of the tutorial, which is about education, not about tech. So make sure you have one person allocated to that. Rule 3. Students should do most of the talking. This is a rule we share with all of our faculty because I think when you prep online tutorials initially, you feel like you have to do a lot of the talking to bring your expertise and to teach the students. But that's actually not the case. What you should be doing is trying to facilitate the students engaging. And yes, you can steer them, you can guide them, you can give them pre-reading, but the rule should be that the students do most of the talking in a tutorial. Otherwise, it's a lecture, not a tutorial. Rule 4, all content should be aimed at engagement. There shouldn't be a period where you've got 15 minutes where you're talking at the students, explaining them something to them. That's not what a tutorial is for. That's what a lecture is for, or that's what a pre-recorded session's for, that they can watch or read something before the tutorial. The tutorial itself is for people to show up live and be able to interact with you. With every element that you plan of the tutorial, there should be some way that you're including student engagement. Rule 5, have a timing plan and make sure you stick to it. So it's really important in tutorials to have a plan for how the tutorial is going to flow, because what you don't want is your tutorial running over, or you don't want that you're not able to get through all the content you wanted in the time allotted. So whatever your time is, have a plan and think through how realistic that plan is. The particular times where I think people go wrong is where they send people off to a breakout room, then the whole groups come back together and they all present what they found in a breakout room. People think that might only take a few minutes, but actually by the time everyone speaks, that can drag out and fill the time. So have a reasonable plan that keeps you within the time frame, and also have a plan for who's going to make sure you stick to that time. So who's going to move you on, who's going to tell you to wind up, and who's going to make sure you're going to finish on time. Good timekeeping is really important to running a tight online tutorial. These are 5 rules that I follow in every online tutorial that I give. If you enjoyed this video, you'll enjoy my video on how to make your slides accessible, which you can see right up here.